Hi everyone! We are ready for our next read aloud today, and we have Ms. Rosales, Ms. Yakimowicz, and Ms. Kim as well. And we're going to be reading this book called The Tooth. And before we even tell you what the book is about, I want you to take some time right now and draw a picture of what you think the book's going to be about. And remember, boys and girls, you can always pause the video after I ask a question so you have some think time before you hear our thoughts. As we share them out loud. So right now I'm going to give our teachers some time to draw a picture of what they think the book is going to be about. And then when you're ready, give me a thumbs up and then we can share what we drew. And remember, we're not all we are all artists, but we all have different ways of drawing different things. So we're just trying our best. Good job, Miss Kim. Looks like you're ready. As you're ready, Miss Kim, why don't you show us what you have? Can you explain to us what you drew?
I think this story will be about a friendship with two teeth. This tooth is saying, "Hi, can I be your friend?" And even though he's younger, he's saying, "Okay."
Oh, okay.
That's sweet.
Thank you. Who else would like to share? Okay, Ms. Rosales.
This is my picture.
Ooh, can you explain to us what you drew?
So it is a girl, and then you'll notice that she has a tooth missing here. It shoots out and falls, and she is saying, "Where did it go?"
So you think this book's going to be about her losing, like not knowing where her tooth is?
Yes.
Nice. How about you, Miss Yakimowicz?
Okay, so mine's similar to Miss Rosales'. I have a girl, and then she lost her tooth, and she's holding it right here, and then she's saying, "Mom, I lost my tooth." And so she's in her room, and I don't know, maybe it's her first tooth that she lost.
Wow, really good predictions. And boys and girls, you guys can comment below with your drawings if you know how to add that to the list too, to tell us what you think the book's going to be about. Okay, so we're going to start. Make sure again, in any interactive read aloud, we always have a pencil or a pen and paper. Okay, here we go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Storyline Online. It's brought to you by the Screen Actors Guild Foundation. I'm Annette Benning, and I'm here today to read The Tooth, written by Avi Sladovnik and illustrated by Manon Gauthier. Marissa's love of candy finally caught up with her. That morning, she woke up with a toothache, and instead of bringing her to school, her mother took her to the dentist. Marissa didn't often go downtown.
I'm gonna pause right here, and I want you to stop and act. What would you look like if your tooth was hurting in the morning? Can you guys stop and act and show me with your facial expressions what you might look like if your tooth was hurting this morning? Wow, look at those really great facial expressions. And I'm sure boys and girls at home, you guys have some really interesting facial expressions as well. Let's continue to see what happens next.
Columns of tall gray buildings cast great shadows across the streets. The sky, usually bright and blue, was barely visible between the rows of endlessly tall skyscrapers. Marissa and her mother walked hand in hand toward the dentist's office.
And we're going to pause right here again, and we're going to stop, think, and then talk about, I want you to make a movie in your mind about what it would look like for you to be on your way to the dentist. What might you see? What might you hear? And what might you feel? So take some time to think and make a movie in your mind right now about those things. And then give me a thumbs up when you're ready. And boys and girls at home, you can always pause the video to give yourself some more think time. Good, I see a lot of thumbs. And so go ahead, we're gonna share and turn and talk. What do you guys think you would be seeing, hearing, or feeling as you're going to the dentist?
Do you want to start it off, Ms. Yakimowicz?
Sure. I just had this experience maybe a couple of months ago where I had to quickly, after school, when I was teaching one day, quickly get into my car and drive to the dentist's office. And so I was just seeing obviously a lot of things in the city, so trees and houses and other cars. I was feeling very nervous, and I had to go to Wilshire, and that's a really busy street, and so there were a lot of buildings there. And then I had to park my car and then run and like rush to my dentist's office to make sure I got there on time. So those are the things that I saw and felt and experienced.
Thank you for sharing. Would you guys, Ms. Rosales or Ms. Kim, like to add on to any thoughts?
So I'd like to add, I remember when I last went, the weather, it has been raining a lot lately. And I remember forgetting my umbrella. So remembering that, you know, I had to also rush to get to the dentist office. And just knowing that, oops, I'm going to get wet.
How about you, Miss Kim?
Well, as soon as I parked my car and I was walking to my dentist building, I just saw many different kinds of people, old people, young people, people of different skin colors. And so, so just seeing a lot of different kinds of people.
Wow, so what I heard you guys share was that you guys were describing a lot of different parts of the setting of this story, of your own movie, right? You told me about like the weather, what you saw, the people in your stories with like your characters. And so setting plays a really important part in our story and in this story too. And one thing I want to add to is also like the feeling, like when you're walking or on your way to the dentist, some of us might be feeling really nervous, really anxious about, oh no, what's going to happen? What's the dentist going to do? Or there might be others of you who are like, I'm not really scared of going to the dentist and really brave and not nervous at all. So there's lots of different feelings in different settings as we read the story. So we'll see what's happening to Marissa.
Men and women wearing long coats and long faces, their collars up and their heads down, rushed in every direction. Marissa leaned closer to her mother. When they stopped at the corner waiting for the light to change, Marissa noticed something unusual. A man with a large nose and dark eyes was sitting on a grate in the sidewalk. In front of him was an open shoebox with money inside. Marissa had never seen anyone like him. She wanted to take a closer look, but her mother held her hand tightly. As they crossed the street to the dentist's building, Marissa looked back and watched the man over her shoulder. He sat quietly, watching the people pass him by.
We're going to pause right here and we're going to stop and act. There's a lot of different actions that are going on in this part of the story. And how do you think this makes the man on the sidewalk feel? So just think about all the different things we heard and how do you think the man is reacting? And give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Okay, go ahead and show me an act right now with your facial expression. What do you think the man looks like and feels? I see some sad faces. Do you guys want to share some of the adjectives to describe the feeling that you're trying to act out?
I think he might be feeling sad, lonely.
Anything else?
Helpless. I feel like he needs money, and so he has this face of looking like he needs help, and so yeah.
You might feel helpless, okay?
I feel like this is probably not the first day that this has happened to him. So I let my shoulders drop in a sigh because I feel he's probably feeling desperation, that there's nothing he can do. He can't control everyone else. He can just only hope.
Well, these are lots of really good ideas. So let's continue to see what happens next.
Up in the dentist's office, they checked in with the receptionist who told them to sit in the waiting room until the dentist was ready to see them. Marissa's mother sat down on the couch, crossed her legs, and flipped through a magazine. Instead of reading a book or playing with a toy, Marissa looked out the window to the busy street below. The man was still sitting on the grate. Most people walked by the man. Some people, just a few, dropped coins into his shoebox. One man in a hurry actually stepped over the man. Finally, after a long wait, Marissa was called into the examination room. She sat in the big chair and opened her mouth as wide as she could.
I'm gonna pause right there. And I think something that authors do is they repeat something over and over again to make you really pay attention to what might be happening inside the character or in the events that are happening. And I've noticed that the author always goes back to the Marissa looking back at the man. So what do you think this tells us about the character? So we're gonna do a stop and jot. And so grab your pen or pencil and paper. And I'm gonna show you we're gonna try to do a sentence frame for you. Okay, do you guys see that?
Mhm.
Okay, so you might wanna say Marissa is, and we can use an adjective to describe what Marissa might, how do we describe Marissa's character traits? Knowing that she's always thinking and looking back at the man. So go ahead, take some time to fill out this sentence frame Marissa is. And when you're ready, you can give me a thumbs up and I'll write down your thoughts on the screen. Ms. Kimowich, do you want to start first?
I think Marissa is curious
Okay, nice. Why do you think she's curious?
because she said in the beginning that she's never seen somebody like that before, so a man sitting on the floor. So maybe she's wondering why he's there or what he's doing. I know whenever we live in a big city, so when people are usually on the floor and they look maybe like they don't have money, usually they're houseless, so they don't have anywhere to live. So maybe he's somebody who's houseless.
And I like how you're saying houseless and not homeless, because home looks a lot different for other people, and so that they just don't have an actual house. And I love how you use that vocabulary. And I also love, Ms. Kimowich, how you're giving us evidence for why you think the character is this way, because good readers always want to go back to the text and give evidence for why they think something. Ms. Rosales or Ms. Kim, would you like to add on anything?
I chose to say that Marissa is caring because she is checking and worried about the man's well-being. Going back to what Ms. Yakimowicz already stated, she is going back into that same, looking back at the man and seeing the interactions around him.
I got the similar adjective. Instead of caring, I said empathetic. And I think that even though she's in pain with her tooth, she's looking at the man's pain and thinking about his pain more than her own pain.
Wow, those are really good thoughts. And I love how we're really thinking about our characters' feelings and how that connects to how we describe the character traits. Okay, let's go back to the story. Okay, here we go.
The dentist saw a small brown hole in Marissa's tooth. That's quite a cavity, he said. The tooth will have to come out. A few minutes later, the dentist pulled out Marissa's tooth. Marissa wished she was in school. Here's your tooth, Marissa, said the dentist, slipping the tiny tooth into a small orange envelope. Make sure to put it under your pillow, said her mother. Make sure you brush your teeth twice a day, and especially after candy, said the dentist. They left the dentist's office, and in the elevator, Marissa asked her mother, "Is there really a tooth fairy?" Outside the dentist's office, the air was cool. Marissa tickled the place her tooth had been with her tongue. It felt funny. They crossed the street. The man was still sitting on the sidewalk. Marissa tried to get closer, but her mother held her hand tightly. Like before, Marissa pulled away and went up to the shoebox. There wasn't a lot of money inside. Marissa held open the orange envelope and let the tooth drop into the shoebox.
We're going to stop and talk right here and say, why do you think she drops the tooth into the shoebox? And knowing that, what does that tell us about her character? So let's take some time to think about why we think she dropped the tooth into the shoebox. And then we're gonna go back and share, and you guys can share out. Why do you guys think she dropped it off? Miss Kim, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm drawing an inference here. I'm inferring this, but she obviously didn't give him money, but she gave him a tooth. And from what I learned in the past is that that there is a thing called tooth fairy. And when you put a tooth under your pillow, a tooth fairy can exchange your tooth for some money. And so I'm thinking that the tooth is her way of, I guess, giving him money.
Yeah, and I love how you're using your prior knowledge, because good readers always use our prior knowledge to help us understand why a character is doing something, because she knows this is her only way. She might not have money, but this is her way of contributing and giving, right? And so let's tie that back into our character traits. We can add some more things now that we learned this more about Marissa. How might we want to describe her now? So boys and girls, you can go ahead and stop and continue to jot and figure out another way, another adjective to describe Marissa by saying Marissa is. And if we have any other thoughts, we can add that to our list. So we have curious, caring, empathetic. Anything else you guys would like to add?
Thoughtful.
Thoughtful.
I would say generous.
Mm-hmm.
Generous.
Giving.
Giving. Nice. And I'm excited to hear what our students think as well. So let's continue the story.
Put it under your pillow tonight, she told the man, and there will be money there tomorrow.
You can't see it.
At first, the man looked surprised.
You're right. Sorry, let me go back. Whoops, right here. Thank you.
The orange envelope and let the tooth drop into the shoebox. Put it under your pillow tonight, she told the man, and there will be money there tomorrow. At first, the man looked surprised. Then he smiled warmly and waved goodbye to Marissa as she and her mother walked away. Now, all he needed was a pillow. Betty.
Oops. And that's how the story ends, which doesn't feel like it's much of an ending, right? Yeah, so I thought it would be a really good idea if we can also stop and jot, and maybe you guys can think of how you would want the story to end. How would you write the ending? And we would love to hear your thoughts on the comments below. And maybe an extension question is, how can we think about the houseless during a time like this, as we're all going through the coronavirus and we're all supposed to be at home? How might we think about the houseless during a time like this? So we'd love to hear your thoughts, and you guys can add your comments in the section below. I know before our videos weren't allowed to have comments, but I think we were able to fix that. So we look forward to hearing and reading your ideas. Thank you for reading with us today. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.